Good evening. It is Sunday, October 20th, 2013. This is your Island Blader speaking. Here's what's happening. Wow! Another trauma filled and delirious feeling, but the Jets beat the Patriots! Ha ha! Ain't nothing like beating the New England Patriots. Now, listen. All the haters are going to come out and say, well, it was a bogus penalty for the Jets to win the game today. And all the haters say, well, blah, 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 Will Fork and Mayo and Akeem Talib not playing. All the negative haters. But what matters is we won the game. Or, should I say, the Jets won the football game. And what? I'm not apologizing for nothing. The bottom line is that it was a big division game, and like I said on here on Friday, these next three games that are against divisional opponents, if the Jets have to win one of them, today was the day, and they did it, and it took overtime, and also a bit of a comeback, down 11 points at halftime. But you know what, though? The Jets came out. They played with relentless pressure, especially in that third quarter when they took the game over. In the fourth quarter, you had to hold on to your seatbelts, and I have my feelings about the fourth quarter, and especially worried because with this defense under the Rex Ryan regime, I like to get rid. First of all, there are a lot of game balls that can go out in this game today for the Jets. Obviously, Geno Smith played a decent game. He outdid Tom Brady, that's for sure. Tom Brady, who lately seems to be just getting frustrated with his receivers. Every time you see him with bad passes, he seems screaming at his receivers for, whatever. Now, so Geno Smith, he played an efficient game. He played mistake-free. He made one big mistake there late in the first quarter, getting picked off for a touchdown. I forgot who ran it back. I forget, Logan something. I forget his name. But it was this one big mistake, but he came out firing, and I'll say this about Geno: he does have an arm. He's got a cannon of an arm, that guy. And he came out firing. Geno came out firing. And his first touchdown pass is another big role player in this game, Jeremy Curley, and Curley came out. He had a big game. Thank God I picked him up for fantasy. Right, got me 17 points today. I believe he had 8 catches, 97 yards, and a touchdown. His touchdown came on that opening drive of the game, giving the Jets a 7-0 lead. Curley was quite a bit all over the place. The way he'd get there in the slot, take off, gain those yards after catch, using a small size, fighting for them yards. So he's another vital role player this game today. Number 3, Antonio Allen. Antonio, in that very first drive in the second half of the Pats, with the Pats up 21-10, and I'm thinking the Pats have the ball here. If they score here, that's pretty much, might as well just pack it in. Antonio Allen, who, by the way, had the responsibility of covering Rob Gronkowski, who came back today. Like I said, only against the Jets. Gronkowski, I ain't gonna lie, he did have a really decent game today. He had, I think, 8 for 114 yards today? He almost had a touchdown there on the Patriots' first possession. And almost had a touchdown to give the Pats the lead late in the fourth quarter. With the Jets up 27-24, Gronkowski tried the one-handed catch and he dropped it. Had he caught that, he might have taken off. But, Antonio Allen came up big, and that it was, I think, the third play in the second half. Brady tries to get one to Gronk, and Antonio Allen picks it off and takes it to the house. And it was like the Jets had a turnover. It's only their third turnover. It's only I believe, their third forced turnover of the year. So for that to happen, that turned the game right around. And a couple of possessions, Geno nearly fumbled the ball away twice. Twice in a row. He managed. He came out. He stayed poised. He was finding his receivers. He took one to the house himself to give the Jets the lead there in the middle of the third quarter, where pandemonium was ensuing. I was going crazy. Like I said, they just, I feel like this team really earned it today, and it would have been a huge letdown Obviously, had they lost a game like this, where they clearly, especially in the second half, enduring down 21-10 at halftime, to come back and play the way they played. If Geno played completely mistake-free football, that interception return for the touchdown, erased that away. And I mean, the Jets were the better football team. They outplayed Brady. Brady was getting frustrated. What was he today? I think 22 or 46 or something like that for 228 yards. I mean, they really, really aggravated him today. And the Patriot run game was nowhere to be found. I mean, okay, both of their touchdowns they scored today were both of their offensive touchdowns rather, they were on the ground. They were, but they were short runs. Well, the second one was, I think it was their second touchdown. Like, no, that was about 15 yards out. But all else, I mean, they went a little above what the Jets have given up, but it wasn't by much. I mean, going into today, the Jets gave up, I think, like 75.6 rush yards per game. Patriots barely cracked that. I don't remember the stat, but they, barely cracked that today. But, you know. Another couple of other impressions I saw today also. David Nelson, the kid that was with Buffalo last year, well, actually, the last couple of years, decent receiver for the Bills before going down with the ACL injury a year ago. He had a couple of, gutsy catches there, including one diving over the defensive back. That was a great catch. And I believe that was on that drive where Smith scored the touchdown himself. I mean, that was a great... He had a couple of great catches with the ball basically nearing the ground. Like, he dove and had to scoop him up. David Nelson, I was impressed by his game today, too. You got to give him props. Chris Ivory. Yes, Chris Ivory was also huge today on the ground. It was basically him that set up the winning, field goal in overtime. By getting down the field. They did their best. Just don't let Geno make plays. Keep it on the ground. Because I mean, the Patriot defense. Their three best playmakers on defense are not there. One at each level. So, I mean, take advantage of that. But also, so Chris Ivory looked pretty impressive too. The one thing that really got on my nerves in that fourth quarter is this. And this happened also in the Atlanta game a couple of weeks ago. The problem is that I don't understand why Morningweg has Geno throwing the ball. They have a lead with 5 minutes to go in the game. Number one, they're having Geno throw the ball. It's like, what are you doing? Number two, you have him. Geno. This is his doing. He's snapping the ball with like 7 or 8 seconds left on the play clock. Like you got to take that down to 1 or 2 seconds. Precious. That's every little second counts, especially in a close game like that in the fourth quarter. That is what bugged me. It's like you got to take it down. And why are you throwing the football? I mean, yeah, okay, it makes you look like a hero if the play is made, but then you look terrible if it's an incomplete pass. You just gave the opposite team a free timeout. So, those are my only pet peeves. But obviously, this game is going to be remembered for the call at the end of the game that set up the Jets to kick the winning field goal in the overtime. Chris Jones, who has been cut twice before ending up with the Patriots. There was a new rule implemented this year, and it seemed like everyone forgot that. It was what was the penalty? You can't shove your own lineman into a play like that. And that's what he got flagged for, 15 yards. And granted, I mean, before that, Nick Folk tried a 56-yarder and missed. But then the penalty happened, so it's not going to count against this perfect field goal record. But, that was huge. And it moved the Jets up, and Folk was able to nail about, I guess it was a 42-yarder or whatever to win the game. But, it's a call. It's like, oh, this is BS, blah, blah, blah. You know how it goes. But like I said, I mean, I know, after what happened with Levante David in the Tampa game and in this game and so on and so forth, it's like, oh, the Jets, all the haters, the Jets were gifted 2 wins. You know what? I don't think they were really gifted. They were not gifted this win today. Okay? They earned it. They outplayed the Pats. The Pats did not look that good. Okay? Yeah, they had an interception return for a touchdown. And yes, Brady was finding Gronkowski. But thank God, okay, and thank God we don't have to play them again for the rest of the year. We had our 2 meetings with them, you know, in the almighty Pats who own this division. And it seems like there's any teams that has given them a hard time, it's the Jets, in this division. Because Buffalo never looks, usually doesn't look alive against the Pats. And Miami, please. But yeah, it's what a win. Oh my! And looking at Tom Brady looking like he was about to cry after that penalty was called. He looked like he was about to cry. And then Belichick's yelling at the refs and everything else. It's just like whatever. You also have to look at the gelling that's coming between Geno Smith and Jeff Cumberland. I mean, like I said, Cumberland caught a big 25-yard pass, the very first play of the game. Geno likes to go all out. He does have an arm. He has a lot of passes in this league that are at least 20 yards or more. He has a high percentage of it. So, but you know, I mean, like I said, I'm not complaining about this win. A win is a win. First of all, the Jets are 4-3, surprising to a lot of people that the Jets are 4-3. It's after 7 games. If the playoffs started today, they'd be in sixth. Believe it or not. Well, depending on San Diego, but I mean, our conference looks, eh. But anyway. I guess I'll wrap for here. Jets, Jets. Yes! Anyway, it's off to a long week. Work tomorrow morning. You know how it is. It's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your children are? Anyway, this is your Island Blader speaking. Deuces for now. Next week, we go to Cincinnati for, it should be an interesting matchup between the first place Bengals, who beat Detroit today. I believe that was an overtime winner. I believe also. If not, it was a late game winner. But, Cincinnati, that should be fun. We'll see what happens. How do we, they have a talented team. Especially now at 5-2. Anyway, I'm tired. Anyway, this is John Blader speaking. Deuces for now.